Creating interior elevations are essential for when it comes time to design the interiors of our spaces. Sometimes they're used to communicate different wall finishes. Other times, such as in these examples, we'll be communicating the layout of the kitchen and the bathroom areas. In order to place these interior elevations, we need to begin by zooming in on the kitchen area. Now we need to come up here to our View tab on our ribbon, and we need to select Elevation off of the list. Once you pick Elevation, make sure that it says Interior Elevation over here, and now move that Interior Elevation symbol into the kitchen area. Once there, you'll see that the little arrow around the top of this circle here, if I pull it down, that arrow will go to the bottom. If I pull it up, it'll go to the top. What this does is it automatically looks for the closest wall, and it'll automatically point itself toward that closest wall. In this case, I'm going to be able to do an elevation view of this side of the kitchen as well as an elevation view of this side of the kitchen. So in order to do that, I'm going to move this right about the middle of the kitchen here, looking toward the sink, and I'm going to click once. By doing that, it automatically generated an elevation view over here in our views. So if we come down here on the list, we're going to look for elevations, and you can see it's added an elevations, interior elevation category now. If we click the little plus there, you can see it says elevation 1-A. That matches up with the naming convention over here. It's always possible to select on this by clicking on the head and then clicking in here in order to be able to rename it. Also, you could rename it from over here, so it would be a little bit more descriptive. But in this case, I'm just going to leave it the same. Something else to know, after clicking on this little arrow shape here, we can see this blue line that goes straight across. Now what occurs in this situation is that usually these try to hold themselves inside of walls, inside of the spaces that they were placed inside of. In this case, it didn't. And the reason why it didn't is that this is not an opening. This is not a door. What this is one wall that comes up to here and stops. And a secondary wall starts here and comes up. Since there's nothing there to actually stop it, it's going out to the next thing that would stop it, which is this exterior wall here on the outside. Because it's done this, it means that if I double click here on the arrow part of this elevation tag, it's going to take us out, and we can see how it's zoomed all the way out to the outside edge of the building instead of staying kind of contained inside of the kitchen area. Now, in order to be able to correct this situation, just move up here, select on this box that surrounds our interior elevation, and grab onto the little circle that exists there and just pull it straight down. Once you get it in place, it'll just kind of lock itself in that position, and it'll keep this so when it comes time to be able to draw on top of this, place notes, call out the different kitchen cabinet sizes, it'll just be there, it'll be right, and you won't have to keep resizing this again and again. Now let's go ahead and place another one of these so it's looking the opposite direction inside of the kitchen. To do that, I'm just going to come up here to the little X and click on Close. It's not going to actually delete the view, it's still over here. The only thing this does is just close the view so that we're not looking at it anymore. Now I'm going to select on the circular part. Now these extra options won't show up unless you click on the circular part of this. If you click on the arrow, you'll get a different set of options. Now I want to look in this direction, so check the box that's closest to the cabinets. By doing that, we automatically have generated a new elevation over here, and you can see its name here. If we want to take a look at that, we can either double click here or come over here to our elevations underneath the project browser and see how it looks. Now this one has the same condition going on, so it's just a matter of selecting on that little circular shape and pulling it in. Once you get it to the spot that you'd like to see it at, you can go ahead and leave it, or you can come in here and use your tools underneath the Annotate tab to add dimensions, notes, line work, and further clarify everything it is that we're looking at in the inside of this interior elevation view. Now let's go ahead and place one more, and that's going to be on the inside of a bathroom area. In this case, I'm going to zoom in here on our master bathroom and place one in. Underneath View, I'm going to come over and I'm going to place another elevation. Make sure it's still interior elevation. Now I'm going to move up in this direction, and you can see it's once again pointing toward whatever the closest wall is. Where I really want it is going to be in this general location, but I want it pointing toward the sink. And by default, every time I pull it down, it doesn't want to be pointing toward the sink because this is now the closest wall. So in order to be able to accomplish that, I'm just going to pull this down and click. I'm going to escape out of the command. I'll select on the circle and then clear this checkbox right here. It's going to give us a big warning message saying you're going to delete the view. Are you sure that that's what you want to do? I'll just click on OK to that. And now click this one, which is actually looking in the direction that we wanted to create the view for. Once you've done that, it's automatically will create that new elevation view of the interior of this space. But there is something going on here that we need to address. Now, by selecting on this arrow, we can see that it is now being held inside of this master bathroom area, much the same way that we originally wanted that to be held inside of the kitchen area up above. But there are walls on either side here and not an opening like there was in the kitchen area. So our view, when we take a look at it, is going to be inside of this space. But there is a problem, and we'll be able to see it when we double click here on the actual elevation tag arrow. Now, this doesn't look much like our bathroom, but what's really happening here is if we select on this box, we can click on the little circles here and we can drag it up. Now we can start to see what our view actually looks like. If we need to expand it out anymore, you can drag it out in this direction or whichever way that you want. What occurred, and if this happens to you, is that we have a really thin floor in this position. Now, since the floor is right there and it's only about 1/4 inch in thickness, what our view tried to do is it tried to go ahead and create a view between our 2 layers of floor. So it tried to create a view between our structural floor and our finished layer of floor, which just doesn't work out too well, obviously. So we had to pull it up because, well, our elevation tags aren't always all that smart. The good news is, though, this is the correct information. And also, now that we have our interior elevations created, we can visualize what our bathrooms and kitchens will look like. And you can come back now or later and add normal Revit notes and tags to finish these interior elevations off. Also, once noted and dimensioned, these elevations will be ready to be placed on our sheets.